right. Hello, everybody. As people are coming in, we're just getting everything set up for you guys for an exciting webinar here. Hope everybody is in the right location. As I say every time, this is Intro to Videography. And I'm going to have a PowerPoint here momentarily. Let's see here. So we'll just start in just a few seconds. Okay. I'm going to share my screen here for a moment, and then I'm going to give it to you, Deidra, after we do our introduction. We're just going to do a quick introduction, and then we'll turn it over to you. Okay, everybody seeing Intro to Videography? Okay, all right. Okay, let's see. All right. Let's see who we all have here. Hello, Carissa. Was just talking to Camille about you. Hope you're doing well. Let's see who else I know. I see April up there. April, your famous name. I was talking to my board chair about you just recently. So welcome. Glad you can make it to one of our webinars. Hello, Lynn. That's an old friend. Good to see you here as well. So welcome everybody. Oh, got Melody there. Melody, how are you doing? We just saw something. Somebody sent something that you were working on around. So good to see you. So good to see some old friends and a bunch of new friends. Welcome everybody. So since we got a lot to cover, I don't want to hold Deidra up any longer than I should. So I'm just going to start the webinar off. We're going to do a little introduction. I'm going to turn it over to AJ for her to introduce herself because we're doing a kind of a joint webinar here of both IDRS and Talani Lake Enterprises. And then AJ is going to turn it over to Deidra, and she's going to provide you with unbelievable amounts of information on how you can use your cell phone, a tool that you have in your pocket to make awesome videos that are really going to take your business marketing to the next level. So with that, let's just talk a little bit about IDRS. First, I just want to mention my team. That's myself. We have Lynn Wilson, Camille Koster, and Heather Gomez. And we're basically the IDRS team, do a bunch of training, technical assistance. Technical assistance is just a fancy name for small business counseling. Our organization, we work all throughout the United States, but primarily we work here in the South, in the Southwest. I'm based in California, and Lynn and Camille are based in Oklahoma, and Heather is based in New Mexico. I'm at the organization. I'm the executive director. I've been here at IDRS for 23 years. And we do we have a number of different programs. IDRS stands for Indian Dispute Resolution Services. So obviously we do dispute resolution. That's where the heritage of our organization started. But we actually started a program called the IDRS Acorn Project. And I'm sorry that my G got over on that website. On both of those, I will fix those on the next presentation. But so we started a program called the Acorn Project, and that's what this webinar is under. And the Acorn Project, we do small business development in Indian country, and so we're working with all types of different businesses. And like I mentioned before, we do a lot of training, both in community training and online training. And then we do that small business counseling, and all the services that we provide to the entrepreneur are totally free of charge. And if you want to learn about our organization and all the different things we do, everything from dispute resolution, doing election services, dispute resolution, training, mediation, negotiation, and talks a number about the different programs we have. You can check out our website at idrsinc.org. Or if you want to go, oh, and you know what? That is, I'm realizing I copied it and I didn't change it. So that second idrsinc.org should be nativebiz.org. And I will put that in the chat box when I'm done. But nativebiz.org is our forward facing website that we have built specifically for our entrepreneurial clients. You can request small business assistance there. It also has a calendar, tells you about both the online trainings we're doing and where we're coming in community. And we post articles and other stuff up there as well to keep you up to date. And then also has our links because we have a pretty active Facebook page and Instagram page as well. So yeah, I'll put the right link in the chat box. And before I go on though, I mentioned that we provide our services free of charge. The only reason that we're able to do that is because we get funding from some great sponsors. So we're funded by the USDA Rural Development. We also have some funding from the California Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. And we have from an organization called Frontline Solutions, they have a program called the Elevate Initiative, which we're a member of. And so we want to thank all of our sponsors for being able to provide the trainings like this and all our one-on-one assistance and everything that we do totally free of charge. So with that, I want to turn it over to AJ. I'm sorry about the G. It happened to your organization as well. But AJ, you go ahead and talk a little bit about Talani Lake Enterprises.
Yeah, no worries, Mark. Thank you for the introduction. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is AJ Tapto. I work with Talani Lake Enterprises as a program manager, and our organization is a 501c3 org located on the southwestern region of the Navajo Nation, just north of Loop, if anyone is familiar with the area. And our organization's mission is to cultivate healthy, safe, and prosperous communities by strengthening food, water, and economic systems for our Native communities, empowering our youth, and promoting Native cultural knowledge. And our vision is for a future where all our relations thrive in sustainable, economically viable, and environmentally responsible Native communities. And Tealy has partnered with IDRS for many years. I want to say at least 15 to 20 years. It could probably be more than that. Um, and I want to thank IDRS as well for partnering with us to be able to introduce the audience with this type of business webinar. And we were able to do that through funding received through the Native American Agriculture Fund and also the funders that Mark had mentioned previously as well. And yeah, we're just really excited to be a part of this webinar series. We'll probably schedule and make an announcement at some point of 3 other business webinars as well. And yeah, I just really appreciate everyone joining the call for today. And I will say, before I introduce Deidra, her organization or LLC is DLP Productions. We've worked with Deidra for a number of years now, in the past maybe 5 years. She has helped us with videography and filming our hands-on and in-person regenerative agriculture trainings. You can find those, and I'll drop the link in the chat to our YouTube channel. And thank you to Deidra. She was able to come out to TOE when we had our workshops to, film and make that available and accessible for people online. So yeah, thank you. And with that, I'll give it to you, Deidra, to do your thing.
Yeah, thank you, AJ, and thank you much for inviting me to this webinar. Yat Eshe Deidra Peaches Yanishia Todicini Nashlin Look on Ide and Bashashin and Sheehan Dasha Che Todicini Dasha Nille Kintlanide Holia de Nasha. Yat Eshikedo Shidine. It's good to talk to everyone and be here today. And thank you for being a part of this amazing webinar. To give a little insight about myself, I was born and raised here in Flagstaff, Arizona, and that's currently where I reside, which is not too far from Tulani Lake. And so, a lot of my upbringing has been in this area, growing up in Flagstaff and Loop and Tuba City. So knowing the region and also too, like, um, my clans and where I'm from and my family originating in Shanto and Black Mesa area. I bring a lot of who I am and my identity in my filmmaking experience. And I think that's really important for us as Diné people is that we have a story to tell. We come from a very special place that has been instilled as far as like our resiliency and what prayers have been initiated by our ancestors. And so, for the most part, I'm going to be talking about storytelling in the sense of digital communication and how that's been beneficial for our continuance and also to like invigorating and re-identifying like learning more about our culture. And so for me, I grew up here and I was really into basketball and everything, and then I dislocated my knee and I couldn't play basketball. So a lot of where I came into filmmaking was in that absence of doing something that meant so much to me. And so for the past, I would say since I was 16 years old to now, so 19 years, I've been in the field of video production. And a lot of it stems from being on the ground, being at the point of source of a lot of our stories. And as everyone knows, like we've have been at the forefront of a lot of in social injustices and also environmental injustices. So to converse that and to communicate that, filmmaking has definitely been a way to tell our stories. And so today I really just want to share with you um, different techniques on how to create your story, how to learn about really like the language of filmmaking. As a videographer and as like going into situations on the ground, you have to think on your feet, you have to react. And I think that applying those skills of critical thinking and creativity, pairing that both together is very important. So I'm going to try to teach you today the basics of videography as well as showing you examples from the community that have been created. So I'm going to pull up my page on here. Let's see, I think I could share my screen. Unless, am I, do I, let's see, do you have to give me permission to share my screen?
Are you not seeing it? Are you not seeing the share button?
Okay.
Because
Oh, yeah, cool.
it should be there.
Perfect.
There you go.
Awesome. So here's my presentation. So, sorry, my throat's going out. So videography is the art and technology of creating video content, typically using video cameras and digital recording devices, which we'll be using today with our smartphones, is a effectively conveys emotion and stories through visual imagery and sound. In this workshop, participants will learn the fundamentals of videography using your smartphones, focusing on technology like camera operation, composition, lighting, sound, and editing to enhance storytelling. So, types of video content we have interviews, we have tutorials, we have documentaries, we have product reviews, and we have events. And so, all of these are really important when it comes to um, taking content that's about like what you want as a storyteller and weaving that all together. Weaving the interviews with B-roll, and we'll go over that too. You may want to create tutorials like we did with TLE, where we created tutorials on the lasagna beds and the chili, and also too like worm harvesting. So those are all tutorials that can be used and disseminated online. Documentaries, that's a wide, that can also be like tutorials, interviews, that's all encompassing. Product reviews, if you have something that you want to introduce, you can use your smartphone, you can use a video camera, DSLR in order to do so, and event coverage. So if there's an event happening in your community, learning how to take your phone out, be there on scene, and be able to capture that. So filming with a smartphone, the pros and cons. Pros is you have it with you, it's inconspicuous. You can put it in your pocket, you can have it in your purse, you can have it on you at all times. The cons of it is a small sensor, which we'll go over later, as well as autofocus and digital zoom, and we'll cover that. Types of equipment used in videography, we have stabilization, we have audio, we have lighting, and we have phone accessories. So stabilization, tripod. So a tripod is what you would use in order to create a static shot. And static is just the verbiage that they use in filmmaking terms. Also, too, you would also hear that nickname sticks. And so if someone says, "Hey, can you grab me the sticks?" That's basically what they're referring to as a tripod. A gimbal. A gimbal is able to have three axes where you're able to create stabilization. So you have the X, Y, and Z axis that's able to create stabilization within this particular device that's on the screen in the middle. And you're able to insert your phone, put it in that particular device, and use that for instant stabilization. I would definitely recommend investing in a gimbal. You could get them pretty cheap nowadays. You could buy third-party gimbals. You could buy um, very popular gimbals. They're really affordable and they're able to create shots that are beautifully um, kind of maneuvered. And so I would definitely recommend if you're interested or even to a novice and wanting to explore more into capturing live events or even to putting together different video content, I would definitely suggest that. A mobile phone rig. And so a mobile phone rig is able to encompass, like in this particular model that we see on screen, it has an ND filter, and that's able to go over, depending on if you have a Samsung or an iPhone, you may have three lenses. And so the ND filter is able to um, stop down the light that's coming in. And so a lot of what you see nowadays, as far as like digital media, all stems from old technology. And so if you essentially like use an older film, like if you're familiar with 35 millimeter film, you know that there's ND filters that you can add to it, and you can keep your f-stop the same, you can keep your shutter speed, and in those days you can't really change the ISO because you're basically limited by the film stock. And so if you understand that concept of what it was to like buy film and get film from the store and use that, and then you know like the different limitations it may come to like camera usage in low light circumstances. And so a rig, you're able to modify it, like say you don't want an ND filter and you want a specific um, focal length lens to attach to it. That's something that you could um, invest in, and you're able to accommodate the detail or still keep the detail at the particular focal lengths because on your smartphone, whenever you zoom, you're changing different lenses. And we'll go over that later. But for the most part, this is creating stability. You have your side handles on the side, you have your SSD on top, which allows you to shoot in formats that may require a lot of space. And so it's really important to think of those things, and we'll go over that as well. So as far as audio, wireless mics, DJI and Rode make awesome mics. If you don't have the budget for microphones, there's headphone microphones that I've used in the past that you can just use a microphone, talk into it, and that's able to create a lot better sound than the sound that's already coming from your device. And they also sell really affordable wired microphones that you plug into your cell phone, and that can plug directly in, and you'll have better sound than just like the onboard microphone. Shotgun mic, it's directional, so wherever you point it, you're able to gather that sound. And those are really important if you're trying to get directional sound, as far as like you being away, you don't have time to mic up someone, then at least like you'll have a better mic source than what's on board on the camera of the cell phone. Lighting, reflectors. I would definitely suggest purchasing reflectors. They come in handy in so many circumstances. Just being able to bounce the light, being able to diffuse the light, being able to block out light. We'll go over that too in the lighting section of our workshop. And then we also have portable lights. Within the past 5 years, there have been so many different manufacturers, like small rigs, like Newer, like Aperture, all of these different um, kind of companies have been able to create lights that are really affordable to the prosumer and consumer. And so I would definitely suggest like looking into those. And if you have any questions, I have my contact information at the end of the workshop. You can send me an email and we can talk about things as far as equipment. But having a light source that you can just like plug into your camera or even to like have flipped onto your cell phone is important. And with that rig setup that I showed you earlier, it's easier to put additional lights onto that. But in this lighting situation, it seems like it has like a clamp that could potentially be for your cell phone. And so I would definitely look into that more, as well as like different the competitors as far as the lights go. I've used aperture lights in the past. I love the panel lighting. I love the usability and just like being able to like use your phone to plug the settings that you want. And say you have multiple lights, you can apply those same default settings to multiple lights, and that comes in extremely handy. So, SSD drives, which are portable hard drives, these can run anywhere from like a terabyte, 2 terabytes, 3 or 4 terabytes. And as of recently, these have definitely increased market value in as far as like purchasing. When the same like SSD drive that I have on screen, I had bought that maybe like 6 months ago for 329 for a 4 terabyte. Now they're well above on over $500. So, um, unfortunately, those have gone up in price. Phone rig we had mentioned earlier. And one second. Sorry, my voice is going out. And the thing that I have on here is a Bluetooth trigger. The thing I like about the Bluetooth trigger is that you can have your phone on a tripod and you could press record, you could stop it. A lot of times, what happens is, say you have a shot and you press the record button. When you press the record button, that movement of you pressing the screen creates movement in the film. And so by having a trigger, you're able to like press record without creating that effect, that potential wiggling or it moving side to side. Hmm. App recommendations. I would definitely suggest the Blackmagic camera app. It's available on both Samsung, it's available on iPhone. This app allows you to have a lot of user control. And a lot of times when you get the default app that's on your phone, as far as camera and video, you're not able to change a lot of things. A lot of the different settings, and that in a way can create your footage to look very amateur-like and not professional. So when you're able to control the light, when you're able to paint with the light, you're able to like be taking that next step as far as creating content that's more artistically driven, and also you're seeing content that's that you yourself as the creator of it, and also too as a storyteller, knows how to convey it. So I would definitely suggest, and you could, yeah, download it for free. A lot of other professional or just like camera apps that are out there, sometimes you have to pay like a subscription base, or you have to like buy it initially. With this app, you could just download it and you're able to use it from the start. So, what is your story? Before you begin filming, it's essential to carefully consider the creative aspect of your project. Reflect on themes you want to convey as they relate to love, conflict, identity, or something else. Understand that your camera serves as the audience's eye. It shapes their perception of the story. Think deeply about the mood you want to create. Should it be tense, joyful, somber, or reflective? Additionally, clarify the message you aim to communicate. What insights or emotions do you want the audience to take away from the experience? So, you as the storyteller, you as the visual creator for the content, you have the ability to use this technology and convey something that a lot of people would not know elsewhere, especially like for me being Denan, being from this community, using a phone has been at the precipice of like where I've been able to like learn more about myself. And so that conflict of identity, learning how to um, go about and learn more about myself. It served as that tool. So the more that you can connect to your story, the more that it seems genuine, and the more that people can them themselves can create or be connected to that. So those are very existential questions that you need to ask yourself before like making anything, because you want there's so much content that's out there. There's so much like videos that are out there. So why should someone listen to your story? That's something that you need to like initiate yourself in order to like take the next steps and then really know what you're trying to convey. So general story structure. As you know, we have Act One, Act Two, Act Three. With short story, sometimes we don't go through all three acts, but this is something you can definitely convey in your film is like, how does it change from like the beginning of your story to the end? What do we gain from that experience of like what you're doing and what everyone is learning? And what is it you want someone to change or someone to become a form about? Those are all questions you need to ask yourself before going into actually filming. Because if you don't go through this pre-production process, you'll be stuck in like the editing portion and being like, okay, what is the story about? Like you'll be asking yourself, and that's like a never-ending loop, of just like not knowing what it is, and then trying to figure out the story, and then trying to convey something else. So initially, it's good to like have a plan before you go in and start creating a bunch of content, especially if SSDs are really expensive right now. Like you don't want to keep shooting and shooting and shooting and then like don't know where to put the story or how to put the story together. So, what is B-roll? B-roll is footage that supplements your main video clip. It can help establish a scene, smooth out transitions, or add meaning. Plan ahead with a shot list to ensure you capture the right B-roll to tell your story. Catch everything separately. Don't stand in one position. So that means like, say you have the camera and you're filming, and then you see something, and then something else catches your eye. You move over, and then you're filming that, and then you see something else, and you do that. With that footage, you're not holding the shot long enough where you're able to like use that maybe 5 to 10 seconds of footage. So it's just going to be like footage where you're just like aiming pointlessly. And so, as you being the eyes for the audience, you need to really give them the kind of like respect of their time to like be like, okay, I want to show you this, and I don't want to like go to this. Like, I want to keep you interested in what you're seeing. So I would definitely suggest like going through shooting a shot for at least 5 to 10 seconds and then cutting and then going to a different position. And we'll go over the different types of shot selections. So making a shot list. The shots and scenes numbering essentially for planning, organizing footage, and maintaining the schedule, locations, know all the required shots, all each locations to ensure nothing is missed before moving on. I would definitely suggest location scouting as a process before you go into like actual filming. Go to the place that you're thinking of filming, scout it out, see where the sun is going, see where like you could find different shots because and eventually you have to condition yourself to see pictures like just going about your day like you'll be like, "Oh, that's a nice shot." Or that would be cool if that was like a close up, or like if I dollied or pan to the side. Like, if you start thinking in those terms, because filmmaking itself is a language. So if you're able to like put that language together, then you'll be able to like know how to create a flow of the story. Shot type, inform the crew about the necessary setups for each shot. Sometimes it's just you, like that's going out there, especially if you're a one-man band videographer. You have to know and plan even too with yourself and be like, okay, I'm gonna have to need this here. I'm gonna have to like avoid maybe this area because of these safety concerns. Those are all things that you need to take into account because a lot of times you're traveling with equipment that's like you're rolling with thousands of dollars of gear. So you have to like be aware that there's certain circumstances where you don't want to like twist your foot and then be like hurting and like unable to assess that. So that's one thing too to like brings back to my first or my previous point as far as like scouting out locations. Camera angles, plan the camera angles in advance for proper position during the shoot. We'll go over camera angles here, camera movement as well, clarifying clarify whether the camera will be fixed, panning, tilting, or using equipment like dolly or drone. Scene description, use brief descriptions to stay organized and avoid confusion with multiple shots. So this is just a general example of a shot list. As you see here, you have in reference to the script, maybe you write like a shot list and you're like, I'm shooting the exterior of this building and I'm shooting this next. Like, I want to be sure to get the outside, the inside. Maybe if it's dealing with like a planting, like creating seedlings and that process of them being indoors, like maybe that's another portion of the building that you want to film as well. So those would be broken down into different scenes, shots. Maybe you want to have a wide shot of the exterior and then you want to punch in. Those can be different. Those will be numbered too. Like I mentioned earlier, exterior, interior shots, wide shot, camera angles, we'll go over that. Static, tripod, sticks, those are all, that's the same thing. Voiceover, meaning that you film all the footage first and then you provide, you do a voiceover, or if someone that you have for the project is doing the voiceover, that will overlay all the footage and kind of just like blend it all together. Camera basics, camera operation, aperture, depth of field, shutter speed, and color balance. So we're going to go through this. Vertical formats versus horizontal formats. So vertical meaning TikTok, IG Reels, YouTube Shorts, horizontal being YouTube videos formatted for cinema and TV. So who is your audience? And if are you making this for specifically social media online, or are you making this in YouTube cinema TV settings? So this is a really important question for you to think about the project that you're working on. A lot of entrepreneurs choose the vertical route just because they're able to talk to their audience through these social media platforms. And there's always the option of filming wide and cropping in to appease the vertical format. But a lot of times, if you do that, you're actually decreasing your quality if you're zooming in all the time to make, uh, to just have that decrease the 16 by 9 to a 9 by 6 format. So this is important. Just generally how to hold a smartphone. So ideally you don't want to just hold it like this. You want to hold it with your palm this way and then your other hand on the side. This creates better stability. If you can, if you're available, or if you have the capacity to, try practicing this and see how much different it is to hold your camera like this as opposed to holding it like this. And a rule too is like when you're using too like a regular camera, like a film camera, like for this example, you don't want to like put your elbow all the way to the side because your center of gravity, your balance is off. So a lot of times you want to have it closer to your body. So having a support of your hand underneath and then from the side, that's more ideal because you're keeping your center of gravity to the center and that creates better balance. Um, so camera settings, you have 4K at 24 FPS. That's for cinematic perspective. A lot of YouTube or like social media, IG, TikTok, a lot of that's actually filmed at 30 frames per second, which is television that I have labeled here. I should have put social media, but that's but television is the grandfather of that and it's been filmed at 30 FPS. And so these are settings that you can apply to your iPhone, to your Samsung, to any smartphone device. If you're filming slow-mo, a lot of times you can't film like 4K slow-mo at 240 FPS. That's something that like higher end cameras they're able to do. But as far as like your smartphone, a lot of times you'll be capped at a 1080 um 1080 at 240 FPS. So 1080p is basically the you have 4K, which is 4 times 1080, and 1080 is just like standard high definition. And so when you shoot slow-mo, you have to shoot it at a higher frame rate or else you're not going to get like smooth slow-mo. You'll get like choppy slow-mo if you were to do it at 24 FPS. In recording format, I have the H.265. That's the upgrade to H.264 and a bit rate of 36 megabits per second.
Deidra, we just had a quick question in the
Oh, yeah.
chat. Perlene was asking how, like, what would be the better hold for like vertical shots, I believe.
Oh, to hold it? Okay. Let's see. I'm sorry. I lost my presentation. Okay. So I guess like if you're holding your phone, you just want to keep it close to you. So elbows in and maybe just like holding it to the side or even holding it here. Maybe even too like having a pointer finger here and then holding it to the side. You just want to make sure that your center of gravity is close to you and not just like filming like this, you know. So as long as you have your elbows in and something holding the side and holding the bottom portion, that would be ideal. But even too with the camera rig or the rig that I showed you for the cell phone, you can also modify it to because it has like threading on the side. I think it's a 3/8 threading that you can actually put like handles on the side too as well. So whatever's comfortable with you, I would say as long as you put your elbows in, you should be good. Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat right now. It's currently just like on a different window. So
You're
yeah.
good.
Oh, huh?
Yeah, you're good. I'm monitoring it, so yeah, no
Okay.
worries.
Yeah, let me know if there's any more questions and I'll be happy to
Yeah.
answer those questions as they come.
Okay.
So, moving on, shutter speed. In your smartphone, you don't really have like if you're shooting with like the application that's already on the smartphone, like if I open my iPhone and go to camera, you're not going to be able to change the shutter speed like you can like on the Blackmagic camera app. In that app, you're able to change the shutter speed. And why that's important is that you, with a slower shutter, you get a blurriness, which is motion blur. And if you're shooting 24 FPS, you want to at least double that. So that's why on here it says at 24, you want to shoot at least 48 or 1 over 50. That's so you don't get motion blur. So, for example, if you're shooting um, slow motion content. And so slow motion content, let's see. Oh, well, let me go back. With the slow motion content, you want to shoot double that double the frame rate. So if your slow motion is at 240 frames per second, you want to at least be over 580, almost 600 shutter speed. So it's 1 over 600. And that's that way you alleviate the potential motion blur that does happen when you don't shoot at a faster frame rate.
Okay, we have two things.
Okay.
I guess that might be. I know one question from Mackenzie. Where would you find these settings for shutter speed on your phone?
Oh, so you wouldn't see that on your default camera like if you were to open the camera app like itself. But if you were to download the Blackmagic uh app, you'll be able to change shutter speed. And so I have a brief, like, quick example right here. I'm going to show shutter speed of 1 over 135. And so what we can do is if we change that shutter speed to an increment that's lower, then we're going to have overexposed. And so this isn't recommended, especially if we're shooting at 24 FPS. We want to be at least over 50. And so we'll change this. And for this exercise, I'm just going to go through. This is 1 over 8,000. Oh no, it's getting windy. Okay, so yeah, so that's a brief example of shutter speed. Was there another question, AJ?
Yeah, so maybe it relates to shutter speed because we had a comment from April who mentioned that her daughter
I think
plays
shutter speed of
volleyball
uh-huh.
and she was wondering about suggestions on how to capture video and also equipment. And I don't know if you want to answer that now or like, yeah.
Oh yeah. So volleyball, you're getting fast motion sports. A lot of those highlight reels are shot at a high shutter speed for the intent to like slow them down. So I would definitely suggest shooting at a higher shutter, maybe 1,000, 1 over 1,000, just so you're able to get like the detail in that. And using a tripod or using your gimbal, that would work well. And I've seen a lot of different like sports coverage where they've actually just used like the hand rig, the mobile phone rig, and they've shot like high-end content for different professional like basketball um, events. And yeah, so I would suggest that for sure. But are there any more questions?
At this moment, no. And thank you very much, Deidra.
Yeah, no problem. So ISO sensitivity, measuring light sensitivity. Higher value means better light captured. And so, um, as I had initially had said earlier, a long time ago, we had film cameras. In film cameras, you had different stocks. You had 200, like you had a daytime stock and a nighttime stock. And so the daytime would go anywhere from like 100 to 400 ISO. And then nighttime or like low light situations, you would have like a 800 ISO stock. And so this is basically the same sort of concept, but in a digital form. So ISO, if you're able to, like, say, example, the sun's going down and we want to get like nighttime shots, and we would boost up the ISO. And so, in that act of boosting up the ISO, you actually lose quality. So, using a higher ISO can lead to a decrease in image quality and result in grainy photos. I'm going to show this next slide. So on video mode in the Samsung, what you do is just press onto the actual where you want to have it exposed, hold it down, and right now it's locked. If we want it underexposed, we turn that down. If we want it overexposed, that's all the way up. But the recommended exposure is usually in the middle, but I like to shoot a little bit underexposed, so then we have more detail. So that was a Samsung phone with no Blackmagic app. So in the Samsung phone, you can't change the ISO. So that's kind of just like talking into exposure. So in this next slide, we'll talk about exposure, but I think this one goes over the iPhone, the next one preceding this slide. Let's see, next one. Oh no, we go into the exposure triangle. So exposure triangle. So basically, if you change your f-stop, which you can't do on the mobile devices, it stays at like relatively like a 2.8 f-stop. So you can't change the aperture, but you can change the shutter and you can change the ISO in the Blackmagic app. You can't change the aperture internally because it's not like a cinema lens. And when it means aperture, like for example, I got this older camera and I know you can't see it, sorry. There's a dial on the side where you're able to change it from 3 point, like f 3.5, 5.6, 8, 11, and 16. In a mobile device, you don't have that capability. It just stays on one setting, which is usually the lowest, or the lowest, which would be like in this instance an f 2.8 for this device, which allows a bigger iris. So exposure is the amount of light reaching the camera and the sensor and is vital for photo quality. Achieving the right balance is essential. So to master exposure, practice in variety of light settings, experiment with exposure triangle and settings. Overexposure leads to bright highlights and faded image, and while underexposed results in dark photos. So here's an example. Overexposed is on the left. You can see like there's not that much detail. The white in the back is bleeding into like the sheep right here, so you wouldn't be able to see the Muppet sheep and you wouldn't be able to see that detail. Underexposed, you can see how the dark black areas are completely dark. You can't really decipher the definition in detail. So that's something that when you're editing, especially with like video, it's hard to like come up with that data because every pixel has its own data associated with it. And if it's too underexposed or overexposed, you can't retrieve it. Quick tutorial.
Here is video mode. If you want to have your autofocus, auto exposure locked, just hold down the screen. If you want to underexpose, bring this little sun down. If you want to overexpose, you bring that sun up. Quick tutorial.
Oh, wait,
Here is
we went over that.
quick tutorial.
Oh, I think
Here is video mode. If you want to,
I think we went over that. I'm gonna kind of cruise through this because our time is very limited. Color temperature, light color balance is measured as color temperature using Kelvin scale. This scale is standard way to compare the different wavelengths in light. So here's a quick example. Right now, our white balance is on auto. So I'll show you what happens if we boost that up. And so this is our color temperature. If you go above 5600, 5600 is what's recommended for sunlight. So anything above that. But you don't want to go too far or else everything's going to look orange. And then if we go too low, everything's going to look blue. So for day, it's at 5600. And then for a cloudy day, 6500. So lens basics. What is focal length, wide angle, mid-range, and telephoto? The focal length of a lens is significant because it allows you to determine the angle of view, often referred to as field of view, and the lens magnification. A lens with a longer focal length will capture a smaller portion of the scene while making your subject look more magnified. So smartphone cameras, they have a small sensor, usually about 1/3 of an inch of just a few millimeters. To achieve a better quality, avoid using digital zoom. And digital zoom is when you automatically zoom in. So like you're in camera mode and then you zoom in, you pinch in. And a lot of times you're not telling your camera if you're zooming in using their one magnified or their wide angle. And so that will create something called digital zoom. And just really quick about sensor sizes. For example, this is a 35 millimeter film. In this, um, right here would be considered the sensor, what you see, and that's basically uh, what is capturing the detail. And so in a smartphone, it would be like millimeters. Like this is probably, yeah, this is 35 millimeters. So like the sensor would be a lot smaller. This would be considered full frame. So angle of view, fisheye, super wide, wide angle, normal, telephoto, and telephoto 3x. So this is showing your degree in your field of view when you're using these different lenses. We have our 13 millimeter, 24 millimeter, 48 millimeter, and 77 millimeter. So in that Blackmagic app, you're able to go between those. The camera techniques. So we'll go through this pretty quickly. We have, like I mentioned, tripod, stabilization, gimbal, dolly, which would be a tracker slider, handheld, easy rig, jib, and a drone. So these are different shots that were taken in different TLE projects and types of shots. So a master shot is a single shot of a scene uninterrupted.
And with your soil health, knowing what types of soil you have.
Point of view, it imitates what a character sees. So in this example, it's the point of view of a plant.
Marconi, red Italian sweet. I don't know how that looks.
And then next one's reaction, showing a character's reaction to a previous shot.
Particular plant on these little guys right here. So yeah, you want to add again peppers.
So these are just like quick examples, cutaway shot of something other than the main subject.
And we just kind of got done this, not this, presenting on a double deck lasagna bed right behind me. I think
Cut in close up of something visible in the main shot. Establishing shot. Okay, camera angles. Ground level shot.
with that, wrap it around.
So that's a shot from the soil. Low angle shot.
Inches in topsoil. They eat all the organic matter.
So the camera's on the ground, pointed up. Eye level shot, which is basically your camera is eye level to your subject.
300 times its size, and then when it dries up, it contracts back to that. So that's the reason why mud.
And then this one over the shoulder, so you can see there's two participants listening. High angle shot,
Oh, no.
This one went up.
Dutch angle shot.
Everybody here has a cell phone, and I know everybody has good coverage. And when you go home, go to Google.
Okay, camera movements. So pan, cameras aim, and it goes left to right. So the camera's stationary. Nothing is moving, and you're just going from left to right. Or right to left. So tilt is just camera is stationary, and you're either moving up to down or down to up.
Then start one to call the
Tracking, camera physically moves left to right.
Be on her own time. Yeah. Oh, I'm fine. Somebody said, well.
Dolly, camera physically moves forward and backwards. Zoom, lens magnifies, minimizes, and sizes.
Yeah, that really thin band right there. Oh,
Crane, camera physically moves up and down.
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, our
Shot sizes, extreme wide shot from a distance.
Felix starts his talk. Maybe we can start.
Wide shot,
The thing that we do is use a painter's tape and put it backwards.
medium shot,
these plants. So, but there are two mammals on the face of the earth that love peppers, and that's us. And that's that other little tiny rodent that lives down in South America. And then birds,
okay, medium close
it's
up,
pretty effective. And then there's other things too. There are other types of way of dealing with pests too.
close up,
And then our other instructor, Felicia, she demonstrated a raised bed inside their hoop house.
and extreme close up.
So it's somewhat sufficient. This might be your problem right here, is your nitrogen.
Okay. So real quick, we'll go over composition, rule of thirds, point of view, perspective, frame, and frame. So composition checklist, fill the frame, keep your horizon straight, watch the background, check all angles, pull back from your subject, try leading lines, perspective, experiment with angles, and take multiple shots. So we're going to go over leading lines and horizon here. So the rule of thirds is a guideline that for composing images suggests placing your subject in the left or right thirds of the picture, leaving the other two thirds open. While there are many ways to compose a shot, using rule of thirds often leads to strong and well-balanced photos. So in these two particular photos, you can see On the first photo, we have a man who's center frame, and you can see the symmetry in where he's standing. In the second photo, you can see how our subject is on the first quadrant, and also too where the lines meet up. Changing your view can open up entirely new possibilities for compelling photographic composition. The first one that we have here is a low angle, so you're shooting, creating that silhouette from the plant that's in front and then using the sun as your backlight. High angle, this is out at Red Mountain. And so this was one of the participants that were there and getting a shot where the camera was above and then getting her from that perspective. Find a frame within the frame. Another way to draw attention to your subject is to frame it. Pretty much anything can be used as a frame: trees, plants, walls, architecture, elements, and other people who happen to be on the scene. So this is using a fence, a chain link fence as a frame. And then also to the bottom examples show filming through a corral. Leading lines is a composition technique that uses line shape to direct the viewer's view to a specific subject or detail. Line shapes within an image can be naturally occurring, such as rivers and tree lines. They can also be artificial lines shaped found in man-made structures like bridges, roads, and fences. So you can see how the leading lines, we have the structure itself and also to the water that they have. And then that's also too called time lapse to that technique. Basic lighting, reflectors, natural light, and number of lights. So painting with light, like I mentioned earlier, mastering how to control it, shooting during the golden hours, which is right before the sun goes down, and in the early morning, it has a softer, more flattering light that enhances color and texture. The time of day creates longer shadows, adding depth and dimension to your photos. On overcast days, the clouds can act as a natural diffuser, softening the sunlight and minimizing harsh contrasts, allowing for more even light that is ideal for capturing intricate details without glaring highlights. So, reflector, like I mentioned earlier, this can be used to diffuse light. If you use the scrim portion, that's you can see this first um, type of that's without the covering because you're usually those have a covering around it that you can take it off, and this is the bare kind of like look to the diffuser. And so reflectors, like I mentioned, provide softer light compared to direct sunlight sources. However, they reflect less light power. Back to the subject. This means you will need to use a larger camera with larger aperture to take a photo. A shiny reflector can make the contrast appear stronger. You can make a reflector warmer if the color by using the golden tone reflector or worn fabric. So one light setup, a sun, strobe, or continuous light. A source method on the light stand can be shaped in various ways. So in this, using the sun as a one light setup, and then in the bottom photo, this is also just using the moonlight and the reflection from the city to create that light where it creates a silhouette. Two light setup, also known as the Rembrandt light. And so, two light setup, this technique allows for photographers to add a more depth and detail to the scene. For instance, one light can serve as the main source, while the second light may function as a fill light or hair light in a portraiture or background. So, with this one, you can see this photo, we have the sunlight right here, but then we also have a reflector on the side right here. So that's using a two light setup of just using a reflector in that photo. This is another example where we have the sunlight that's coming above and then we have a reflector coming from the side. Diffusion. In this photo, there was a diffuser that was over her. And so that created the softness in the light where it's not too much of a contrast as far as the colors. Landscape. For landscape photography, use an open aperture of f8 or f11 to achieve a sharp focus in both the foreground and background. And so this is not so much applied to the smartphone, but just knowing that if you were to pick up a professional camera and you wanted to shoot landscape, that it's recommended to be at least at a higher aperture. Checklist. So, checklist before filming, clean your lens, turn your screen brightness up, and hold with two hands. Make sure your fingers don't touch the lens. Make sure your devices are working properly. Resolution and settings are correct. Organize your kit, whether you have your backpack or you're using a hard case, like make sure everything is organized so you know where everything's at. Charge your batteries, bring extra cables. If you have portable batteries, I would definitely suggest bringing those. You don't know when you would need those, and sometimes you need power. And so having that available is really crucial to your production. And also extra memory cards or extra SSD drives. Memory and footage, it takes so much memory to take high definition footage for especially 4K footage. And so being prepared to like accommodate those needs is very crucial to any production. Things to consider, take your time or take advantage of this phone size, take multiple takes. So don't just take one take of a pan, be sure to take two takes or even three takes of the same shot. Access your vantage point, shoot at different angles, autofocus, lock. So AF lock, autofocus, choose your point of focus, make sure it's in focus. Condition your mind to see potential photos. Look for interesting things, color themes, juxtaposition. Avoid digital zoom. Move closer. Use 2K or 2x camera lens. Use the rule of thirds and utilize leading lines and other strong lines in your composition. Shoot through objects. Be very creative. Don't be afraid to be creative in your shot selection. Add some foreground and layers to create depth. Use a tripod to easily adjust your shutter speed, capture long exposure. Make sure to be present when the light is at best. Look for strong contrast. And again, take your time, stop and check your footage as you go. So, editing recommendations for mobile phone apps. The LumaFusion, that is through your phone, and that looks like you have to pay for it. The thing I like about being able to like as LumaFusion as opposed to like CapCut is like sometimes when you use other services, it's all subscription based. So maybe you have to pay like $10 like a month, or if you want certain transitions or unlock different things, you have to pay more money. So CapCut is like notorious for that, and so I would try to veer away from apps like that. But you have iMovie for your iPhone. Adobe Premiere also has a really good editing system. I would highly recommend. And Instagram Reel Editor, that's something that's of recent that I would highly recommend as well. And if you're more into desktop applications, the DaVinci Resolve is free to download. Unfortunately, Adobe is subscription based, and so that does cost money. Another cost alternative would be open source. And so OpenCut, you would edit through their browser. And so you just open OpenCut .co, I believe, or I'm not too sure what the exact URL is for that, but it's an open source, meaning that they're not there to make money, but they're more there to improve the the editing software itself. So I would definitely suggest trying that out and seeing which best fits your needs. So thank you. Thank you for your time. If you have any further questions, please feel free to send me an email. This is my contact information.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deidra. And Mark, did we want to do like a quick Q&A maybe?
Oh, what kind of Q&A?
A quick Q&A
Oh,
just
oh,
for
yes, 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 please. If anybody has questions, please ask.
I see that Michael in the chat said that you can use a car shade as a reflector. And this was just my mom in high school for my graduation pics did a DIY where she used cardboard paper or no, cardboard and put foil on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super helpful, but yeah,
Yeah, you
thought that was
could,
cool.
hell yeah. You could go to the dollar store, get poster board, and you could get like the white poster foam board that has like some thickness to it, and you're able to bounce off light like with that too as well.
You know,
Oh.
and I know, like, buying a bunch of stuff like from China, not the best thing, but like Amazon has made some of this stuff so cheap. So obviously, if you could go get the best stuff made by the best photography companies, it's going to be top dollar. But man, I'm surprised all the time. Like we did a photography workshop for an Etsy cohort in Nevada, and we had a photographer come in and kind of talk about his process and some of the equipment he uses. And he had like really professional stuff, but I mean, some of the lights that he was even using, he would buy for like $10 off of Amazon. So it's really crazy. It's really kind of democratized some of the stuff that you guys that people can do, just some of the equipment they can get.
Exactly.
Mm.
While we're waiting for additional questions, I actually had a question, and not to put you on the spot, Deidra, but like last night I went to a presentation on AI, and so like, what if you had some people here in the presentation like just said, Deidra, why do I even got to learn any of this stuff? I can just do AI, and AI is going to produce a video for me. So why should I even learn how to make great videos with my phone?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the ethics of it. As far as like AI, water consumption, like where are you may be able to have that technology and accessibility, but in the end, how much water and how much resources are being used to accommodate that prompt? And so I feel like if you learn these basics, you can apply it to all sorts of different media as far as like even older technology. Like it's all language that's has beneficial use as far as like it can be applied to different sort of formats and different technologies.
Yeah, and if I could just add on, like my opinion is like, a lot of people, and I'm sure AI will get better, but people can detect when stuff is AI, and after a while, it's going to lend where there's no authenticity there. Oh, that's just an AI video. And when you can produce something that people can really tell, oh, this is made by a human, everything here is done by a human, it's good. I mean, you're going to really bring a lot of authenticity. I mean, since we are talking about business, right? I mean, that's essentially what you're trying to do. You're trying to create an authentic relationship with your customer. And so if you're producing videos that your customers believe are authentic, it's going to be a lot better connection with your customer than just, yeah, it's easy to type stuff on AI. But, if you want to, in the long run, create that relationship, get those sales from those customers, you're probably better off learning some of these techniques to produce really, strong and authentic videos.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Speaking of techniques, we got a question here in the comment from Carissa. Were you saying not to use either the pinch zoom or the 1.5 or 2 zoom on iPhone?
Don't use the pinch zoom. If you're changing lenses, be sure that you're changing lenses within the camera. So you don't want like sometimes when you do a pinch and zoom, it says like 1.9, which means that you're using the the lens, the 1x lens, and you're zooming into it. And while you could just switch to a different lens and use like the 2x lens. And so I think it's really important. That's a really good question. And it's really important to be cognizant of what lens that you're using. Because in real world situation, like if you were using an actual camera, you would have to like change out the lens in order to accommodate.
Mhm. We also got another question. Jason asked if we can get a copy of the deck. Just wanted to go over some of the shots and example videos.
Yeah.
Cool. And then I know the session is being recorded, so I believe people will also be getting the recording sent out probably after the session, right, Mark?
Yeah, I'll definitely get it sent out by this weekend sometime, and I can also include the slide deck as well. I'll PDF that and send that to everybody, so everybody can view it no matter what you're viewing it on.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And all
Thank you.
those videos are TLE videos too. It's on the website or
Oh,
on the
is it on the YouTube? There's the YouTube channel.
yeah.
It is. I shared a link in the chat. I can also share it with you, Mark, too.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and I'll include that in the email.
Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the people who came and sat in to listen on this webinar. Definitely a lot of good, super helpful information. And I definitely learned a lot. So I really appreciate you, Deidra, for making the space and time to have this webinar. And just looking at the chat, are there any more questions perhaps from people? We got a lot of thank yous in the chat. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you all for coming because we had a lot of participation today, and so this is really awesome. And we really appreciate you guys all being here, and I hope that information that Deidre had brought you, you guys can put it right to work in your business and start making great videos.
Yeah, and just to echo what you had mentioned, it's all about your relationship with your customer and what you want to build as far as authenticity that's important to your brand. And the more real it seems that you're being truthful, you're being authentic to yourself and your product, whatever that may be, that's really important. And people can really see if someone is fronting or if something doesn't feel genuine. So I would definitely um, tell you all to just keep practicing. Just pick up anytime you have a camera, anytime you have something that you want to um, take a photo or even take footage of, just use it as practice and try to like learn the language and put these sentences together. Metaphorical sentences of camera movements together and shot selection.
We got another question in the chat from Carissa. Are there any tips on adding VO?
Oh, voiceover. Okay, so um if you're like say you're limited, you don't have like money for good audio, that's where the option of using your microphone, like headphone microphones, could be a very cost-effective solution for that. If you just have availability to your cell phone, you can record your audio, say like in your voice memo app. Be sure to wherever your mic may be, just like cup your hand so you're able to like have that audio be directionalized or have direction to it. So those are some very cost-effective ways of getting VO. Um, and also too, in voiceover, you don't want to be monotone. You want to have a cadence to what you're saying. And so learning to articulate your or kind of like fluctuate your voice in a way where people are not just hearing like monotone speak is very important because you want to be convey the information that your audience can their attention is there. So um definitely take many takes and you'll know when the right one is the like when you got the good take, but that all takes practice. And so just practice, 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 and be patient with yourself. And a lot of it just comes down to patience and consistency. So just being patient. If you feel like it's too much, take a moment, step back, and then come at it later, because you don't want to be flustered and try to make a video like then you feel that in the footage.
Cool. Thank you, Deidra. And I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat. So I believe that is maybe a wrap.
That may be a wrap. Well,
Maybe a wrap.
let's wrap it up. So until next time, AJ and I are working on future webinars. I think we were talking about a text webinar. We don't know if we're going to get that done before text time, but we're working on it. But no matter what, everybody who registered today, they're going to get notification the next time we go out and have another webinar as well. So, like I said, thank you very much to Deidra. Thank you very much for AJ for co-hosting with me today. And thank you to all of you for coming. We will see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Oh, yeah, go on it.
Bye.
Okay, guys, I'm ending it. So long.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.